PowerSchool training. We have a number of things that we want to cover today. One of the first ones is what your teachers can do for you, okay, in reporting with the MISO3. So we're going to cover what the teachers can do and what if you give them access. And then we have the main document right here that you can get off our website and provide training for you as far as in the guidance with completing the MISO3 in PowerSchool. So what's reportable to the MISO3? Licensed teachers who have a section scheduled and they have to have students enrolled, okay? Title I teachers who might have a caseload with sections and teachers enrolled. Then there's non-instructional courses. These are going to be like, say, your counselor. You have a counselor in school. We're going to create a non-instructional course for them so we can pull all the males and females in grade 9 and grade 10 and so on all the way through. We can get that data without you having to do a manual entry. And the same thing with administrators. We can do administrators that way, and I'm going to walk through several examples. And it really is going to make life easier for you. What's not reportable? AM and PM attendance. Sections that don't have a state course code. I think we have a lot of those cleaned up now. We're in pretty good shape, but you got to have the state course code. Courses and sections that don't have students enrolled aren't going to be reportable. And then Title I, say Title I teachers that don't have a course there for them. Some will say, hey, I'll put all my Title I students in a Title I math class. Then they report like a regular teacher, but no schedule, no report, okay? State course codes that are not reportable are attendance and other courses that you might have, say, such as volleyball, that are listed as non-IA. They're in there. A common one, too, and I could change this to a better example of, people have coyote time or cardinal time and things like that. That's a non-IA. That's not considered a class, and those numbers won't report. For data flow to happen from PowerSchool, staff members need to be in a school, okay, and have a school as their home school. Had 2 emails on this morning, and the reason that those people weren't flowing is they had the principals listed in the district office, okay? So you want to make sure that for right now, until you get this MISO3 submitted, you make, the high school or the elementary part as their home school. And then if they don't want to be, you can change that later, okay? But right now for the MISO3, you need to do that or their data is not going to come, okay? It's not going to flow up to STARS. So make sure they're not part of the district office. So now what you can do is, and some schools do this, and I like the idea of it. They give their teachers this sheet, and then they say, we're going to have a staff meeting. Bring your iPad, not your iPad, well, you could do your iPad. Bring your laptop to the staff meeting. Might have it in the computer lab, whatever. They log into their PowerSchool, their grade book, okay? And on the left-hand side, they have a link, and I'm going to bring that up right now for you. I'm going to go to train 1, and instead of admin, I'm going to go to teachers. There we go. And I'm going to log in as myself. Now this is a train site again, right? So I'm going to log in as myself. And on the left-hand side, since you as the admin have activated this, and I'll show you this in the doc on how we do that later, but you've activated this state reporting icon. So now I select that on the left-hand side, and here it comes up. And what this is really nice is a nice feature for you in that you're double checking things. Your staff are double checking. They're coming here and they're saying, yeah, Glenn's here. Now, if I'm a female and I maybe was married over the summer, or maybe it's not even there, I'd want to put in a maiden name here if I have one. regular school year. Notice I gave myself a nice salary here. And I didn't include any commas, right? No dollar signs, just the number. And you're going to tell them that, and it's part of the doc. Days contract, what does your contract say? Years educational experience, got 38. Okay, I'm the teacher. I'm not a first-year teacher, so I'm not checking that box. Mandated reporting, yes, I've completed it. I checked the box. I'm working in grades 7 through 12 with 34% of my time in the junior high. I'm a teacher. I'm a regular classroom teacher 100% of the time. And then I come down here. Where are my degrees at? Okay, my highest degree and so on. And it's done and I submit it. Really, what your staff members would need to do is they'd need to come in here and they'd say, I need to put my new salary in, right? And they got their contract. You tell them beforehand, make sure you look at your contract before you come to the meeting. They all have their contract, right? So they're going to come to the meeting. They're going to enter this. They're going to make sure everything's right. Really, this salary and possibly this might be the only thing that changes is their graduate semester hours. Okay. Other than that, not a whole lot might change. And they submit that, and then it'll have a submission date of right down here. Cassidy, question?
Hello, yes, quick question. We always get asked when teachers are updating theirs about the years of experience, if they count this current school year or if it's completed school years, and then if a teacher has a half of a year, because some of them may be student taught in the fall and then were hired in January, kind of a thing. So what, those three questions.
Right. So very good. So you're not counting this year, right? You are counting the years that you've completed. So if this is my very first year of teaching, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put 0 in here for years experience, and I'm going to check this box. If I have completed 1 year and I'm in starting my second year, I'm going to put a number 1 in here. And of course, then the first year teacher box wouldn't be checked, right? Okay. So now the half year. I don't know if right now that would be that critical. I would think you'd round up to the highest and go with 2. But let's say I got 1.5 years, I would think you'd put 2 because you don't put fractions in here for us. That'd be a good question that I will ask DPI on. I can tell you that they are working on that right now as far as what are we collecting here? Because the bigger question, I was going to talk about this a little bit later on, but I'll get into it now, is you hired a teacher from the Philippines that has 2 years experience in the Philippines and comes here. Is she a first-year teacher or does she have 2 years experience? We used to tell people you put on here what your contract says. How many years does your contract say you have experience for? That's what you put in. But that's not exactly accurate sometimes neither, although I think it is more because we all remember the days when I taught in Hettinger for 10 years, and then I started in Washburn, but Washburn would only let me bring in 5 years. Well, those days are kind of over. They're saying, you got 10 in Hettinger? Well, you can bring all 10 in because, you might be the only applicant they have, right? So DPI is working on a more clear definition of what they want here. Okay, so look for that in the future. But right now, I'd say go ahead and round up to 2, but I am going to check on that just to make sure I'm right, okay? So what's nice about this is when the teacher submits this down here, this date goes in and that'll be part of an export that we have a little bit later on, okay? Very handy because if all the teachers were supposed to submit this on 9/13 in that staff meeting, and they don't have this date on that export that we're going to go through later on this morning, I'll know that they forgot to scroll down and submit. Sometimes that happens, but it's nice to have the teachers do this. Sometimes schedules change, right? Oh no, man, I'm teaching more in the junior high this year than I was in the high school. They'd change this, and then you're just double checking their work. That's real nice. Okay. So they submit that, and then you're ready to start doing your work. Okay. Now, that's on their form they have right there. Okay. You give that to them. Remember, time devoted in these areas must, or in this area, must equal 100%. It doesn't need to in the lower area. And I have some examples on this. Okay. So this was the teacher access part. Let's close out of that and move to, I need to close that out. I was working with Griggs here a little bit earlier. It was into ESPB. I got a lot of things going on here this morning, don't I? Let's bring our training, PowerSchool training site back up. I want to log out here. Just give me a second. Can close that out too. And let's take a look back at our MISO3 document now, right? We've talked about this. We're on to page 2. What we want to walk through now is some teachers and some scenarios, okay? Teacher in one district, single or multiple schools. So, that Phy Ed teacher who may be teaching Phy Ed in the elementary and high school or just K-12, we're going to talk about these scenarios. You're going to go to that staff member, select the teachers, select that individual teachers, and there's really 2 areas we want to work in. The staff profile page under demographics, and then the compliance page, okay? So in our example here with Butch Crum, so now I'm on page 4 of the doc, right? I'm going to work in this area. I'm going to slide this off the screen here, and I'm going to my staff, and I'm going to look for Butch Crum. There he is. I'm going to bring up Butch, and what we're going to do, and this is what Jack and I would do if you guys were talking about, hey, I don't have data flowing. We'd go and check these things. First and last name. The first thing that'd pop up to me here is Butch Crum. Butch is a nickname. Do they have the legal name in? Yes, they do. Remember, you only need to put the legal name in if it is different than this name up here. Some people will just copy things down, and you really don't need to. You can save yourself a click, okay? There's someplace else I want you to use that click on, okay? So right here, save yourself the click. Only type in if something's different, if it's a nickname. We all know, her as Jen, but really her name is Jennifer, okay? We do that sort of thing. Then we have the preferred name. You're fine there. This needs to be filled out. The name up here needs to be the name that's on your teacher license, okay? And that's where we talk about maiden names and name changing and things like that. If you got married over the summer and you want to use a different name here for a legal name, hold off on that unless it's been changed on that teacher license. You could have a problem there, okay? So we want to make sure those match. Email address, you need to have that. Gender needs to be filled out. We like to have you to have a title in here, like PE teacher, high school principal, counselor. Fill out those titles. It really comes in handy for us in the ServiceNow part of it. When you submit a ticket, we can help you out a lot better because then we know what your role is at the school. Typically, we deal with administrators and counselors and so on and admin assistants, but that helps, okay? Male, gender, don't need a legal gender unless it's different than what it was at birth. So you can save yourself another click, okay? Don't need to copy that down. Ethnicity and race is just like the students. You have to fill it out, okay? Or data is not going to flow. Here's where I don't want you to waste a click. Go ahead and set this one too. Even though this won't stop the flow, just like with students, well, with students more, you're going to want to report and this report is nice where it draws from this one. But on staff, you might need it in the future, so just do it now. It's one click that I don't want you to waste. You have your, or that's one click that I want you to use, I should say. Teacher number, put it in. Typically, it's first and last initial and the year they arrived at the school. You have that in here already. You're not doing that right now. You're not enrolling new staff. These two fields here aren't necessary, but you can fill them in. Some have homerooms and they use them, but it's not going to stop the flow. Neither will the lunch ID. Home phone, we want you to put that in. School phone, we want you to put in. Okay. The school phone number is important for us, not necessarily that you're going to need it for data flow. Same thing with the street and city are not necessary for data flow. All right. But they may be handy to you with printing out mailing labels and so on. So it's nice to have that complete information there. Date of birth needs to be filled out. You have somebody who says, well, I don't want to put my date of birth in PowerSchool. Well, it's too bad. You're putting it in, you know, you got to bring the hammer down on that. Staff type needs to be teacher. Okay. Next year, we're working on getting that so it can be teacher and staff with a teacher license will draw. But for right now, it needs to be set to teacher. So those principals need to be set to teacher. After the MISO3 is submitted, they can go and change this back. But until it's submitted, it needs to be in teacher. And then, of course, they need to be active, right? And then you'd go ahead and submit that. Now, on the bottom of page 4, it says can be set to teacher and staff. That's what we had hoped it would be. Jane and I had worked on this for quite some time with PowerSchool, but they never got it done in time. So we got to live with it. It needs right now, this year, teacher, next year, teacher and staff. All right. So let's go on to page 5 then. Page 5, we're going to work off this compliance tab. So I'd submit all my corrections here. And wait, I just noticed something here too. You see right here where my homeschool is? It says Edutech High School. So my home, or Butch's homeschool, is Edutech High School. What if that changes? Or what if I'm going, oh, they're in the district office. I don't want that. I need to get this, person to a school level rather than district office. I come up here, staff profile, account access and affiliations. And you see right here, I just have the high school. I can add one and I could say, well, I'm going to make it the elementary too. Now I could change this by selecting that dot right there. Now in submitting, his home school would now be Sanford Elementary School. Okay, so that's how we do that and check on homeschools or change them. Now we're ready to go to page 5 with our compliance page. So I'm going to compliance on the left-hand side. I'm going to state reporting information, and I'm going to our compliance page. The first thing we want to do is we want to take a look at the top. What do we have for teacher license numbers or number? Leading zeros aren't a problem. What we ask you to do is just be consistent. If you use leading zeros, then use leading zeros. If you don't, don't, okay? It just makes life easier for everybody. So they have a teacher license. I notice right here, here's Butch's name, and then we have the legal name down here. We're not worried about the second one with non-licensed staff, or this column right here, I should say the fourth one down. School year period is going to be regular school year. We're putting the salary in, and as you can see on page 5 there, salary is a whole number, no commas, no dollar sign. Just enter the salary. What's the contracted period? What does your contract say? How many years educational experience do you have? If you're a teacher, you want educational experience. If you're a teacher who was a principal for 5 years and came back to the classroom, you still only put the years you have educational experience down. You don't put the admin experience down. I see some people have had that. It's not going to air out on you, but that's what we've been told to enter, okay? If you're an admin, you don't put, oh, I taught for 6 years and now I've been an administrator for 20. You just put your admin experience here, okay? First year teacher, I talked about that a little bit already. If you haven't completed 1 year of teaching already, you're in your first year, you are a first year teacher and you check this box. It will clear out when we go to the end of year process. That's kind of a trigger for things. It'll take this check mark away. Okay. This, as an administrator, I'm going to see that Butch checked this box when he submitted his MISO3. Did that work at the staff meeting? This is going to be checked. So I see that that's done. And now right here, we're looking at time devoted for Butch. How much time has he spent during the day or during the year with these students? Well, according to his class schedule, he's with the 7th and 8th graders 25% of the time, 9 through 12, 75% of the time. This needs to equal 100, okay? That's right there on bullet 11 on page 5, all right? Now, here's where it's different, and we have to explain this a little bit. What if Butch is a half-time teacher, came out of retirement, and he's doing some half-time teaching for us? He still could do 25% of his times with 7th and 8th grade, 75s with 9 through 12, but we could say he is a 50% teacher, okay? Right now, he's 100. So this one doesn't need to equal 100% down here. Then we move on down and we take a look at our other responsibilities. The other thing I should mention is if he is a teacher 70% of the time and he's, let's say, an instructional coach for, where can I find that? And man, I had to find some. I'm just going to choose one, okay, just so it fills out for my example. 30%. You go with your most, the one that you spend the most of your time with first. Second is the one that you spend the next most amount of your day with, and third, and so on. So it could look 70, 20, 10, and so on. All right. To fill those out. So our major responsibilities come first, and that just makes sense. Then we come down here. I have an example for our non-instructional courses in our next example. And then we come down to our education experience. So as a beginning teacher, you might have Dickinson State 2018, and your highest degree might be might be a bachelor's degree from Dickinson State 2018. Now, in this case, this teacher, in 2018, he got his bachelor's degree, Butch did. And then each year, this number would increase. Let's say first summer, he took 10 credits. The next summer, he took 10 more. And so this went from 10 to 20 and so on. But in 2022, Butch got his master's degree. So I changed this to master's degree from North Dakota State University. I entered 2022 in here. And then this field right here started over at 0. And now since 2022, Butch has earned two more credits, and he puts that in. Okay, and then we can submit that. If you're an EL plan manager, you're going to check the box. And if you're a teacher that would be excluded from state reporting, you'd check this box. And I'm going to go through examples of excluding from state reporting coming up, okay? Remember, we do have out of country here. So you can select out of country. And now we have another box that pops up and it says, where did that teacher come from? Okay, Belgian. That's where they got their license from. So that's been helpful too for you. Those of you who have teacher from the Philippines or someplace else, you can fill that in now. All right. Okay, so you heard me mention about this mandated reporting. And if you have your teachers go in and fill that out, you won't need to do this step. But if you're a school that says, well, we don't, we take care of that on our end. But we have them turn in, when they complete the mandated reporting, we have them print out the form and turn it into us at the office. Okay? I'm going to save you some time here. And right now I'm on page 6, okay? So if you have done this, you can do this at the district office. You can switch to the district office. And if you know all your teachers have done it, you can do it right now with me, okay? So what I'm doing is I'm going to select my staff tab. I'm going to view the field list right here. Because you could copy and paste it from the doc in there too if you have that open, but you can do it this way. In the filter, you're going to type mandated. See, I just went manned and it comes up. This is the field that I want, the state of North Dakota field for mandated reporting training. I select that. All right. Now, right at the end, if I select equals blank means all of these people have not done that yet. They don't have the box checked. If I put equals 1 means the box is checked. These teachers have checked the box. So Butch had it checked, right? You've seen that. But that's not what we want, right? What you want to do is check the box for all your teachers that have completed it. You have the forms in front of you. So you go mandated reporting training equals blank, and you just hit enter. So in my training site here, I got 417. I'm not going to do all 417, okay? But you could do them all. And the ones, let's say you have an online teacher here, or you have a ITV teacher here, or whatever, that isn't a teacher of yours, or maybe there's the lunch lady in there. It doesn't make a difference if they're checked, right? You're going to get all your teachers, and that's what you want. So you can do them all. I'm just going to grab a couple. I'm going to go select by hand. And I'm going to grab these two right here, and I'm going to update my selection. So now you have all of them, or you maybe went through and handpicked, whatever. You have your people. You come over here to change staff field values, and that's in this pull-down menu right here, okay? Under staff management, change staff field values. This is what we call the group functions menu. That opens up a window, and I come over here and I don't want to retype all of that. So I'm going to go right here to fields. I'm going to filter for, again, mandated. Select that. This is the field I want to change. Now, remember what I said about field values? If it was blank, it isn't checked. If it had the number 1, it was checked. So I want to put a number 1 in there. Now I'll submit, and what happens is I get a window that pops up and says, hey, do you want to do this? The old value in this field was nothing. Now it's going to be number 1. Yes, I want to do that. Submit it. Okay. Now when I go back to my start page, you remember my 2 staff members here? If I go to Joe, and I select compliance, I'm right there. This is the page that popped up. Notice it's checked now. It wasn't earlier. So that's going to save you a boatload of time, people, okay? If you're doing that. If you're not, you're good. Okay. So write it there on page 6. Now, let's talk about non-instructional staff a little bit. I like to use an example here of a past principal that I used to have back when I first started teaching. He's a good man, and we're going to bring him up and talk about Jerome Sunday just a little bit. So Jerome was a principal for many years. I'm not going to talk a lot about the staff profile demographics, because this is an easy one. You know how to do this, right? Is his name here? Is there a reason for a legal name change? Is the email address here? Title, gender, yes. Ethnicity, race, yes. We come down here, we're looking at date of birth. Is it there? Is he listed as a teacher? Is he active? Do we have a teacher number here? That's going to be there anyway when you enroll the staff member, and ethnicity or reporting ethnicity. All of that's there. We're good. That's a quick check. That's what Jack and I are going to do when you call. Then we're going to go to the compliance page and go to the North Dakota State reporting page here, link. We're going to look for a teacher license number. Yes, it's there. There's the name. We're good. Regular school year, salary entered, days contracted, years of admin experience. He's completed his mandated reporting. He's 7 through 12 principal. Yes, his time's right there for 7 through 12 principal. Now, Jerome had 2 different roles in that school. Okay. He was the principal for 67% of the time. So he's going to be principal, secondary principal, 67% of the time. But Jerome was also a math teacher. So he taught a couple math classes, 33% of the time. So we would put teacher, regular classroom teacher, 33% of the time. Now, the numbers for his math classes, since we've put this here, it's going to go out and look at his class schedule, and it's going to pull those numbers automatically, just like a regular teacher would, right? We're in great shape there. Where are we going to get these numbers from? Jerome doesn't need to manually enter them in because Jerome's going to come down here to the non-instructional courses, okay? And this is where it's real nice for Jerome. He's going to go ahead, and if this was from last year, all Jerome needs to do, if it's here, is he needs to change the year to 24-25. He's the principal, and he's good. He can submit that, okay? If there is nothing there and it's a new principal and so on, well, then you'd have to go to new for this year and select, the principal, secondary principal category. This works very well for those, elementary principals, secondary principals, school counselors, and so on. All right. And then we have Jerome's degrees here, okay, on when he earned them. All right. And we're good. Jerome's data is going to flow nicely into PowerSchool. So let's go ahead and do a little bit more complicated one now. And another past superintendent that I had back in the day when I was starting, Sam Tollefson. Oh, come on, man. What is this? What's the problem again? I'm going back to the start page. I think I know the easiest way is to sign out and sign back in, and that's going to take care of it. So I'm just going to do it. There Sam is. We got our staff profile page. We talked about that. Easy to troubleshoot. We go to compliance, state reporting. Sam's looking good here. We notice right here. Yeah, we all called him Sam, but his legal name was Samuel. All right. Salary, years admin experience. Yep, all of this is checking off real nice. All these fields are filled in. He's superintendent of the school. We're in great shape, okay? Now we come down here, and here's where it gets a little bit different for each one of you. So you guys follow me on this, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one and delete this one, okay? For Sam, who was at Carson, he was the superintendent, and he was the superintendent of a building that had elementary and high school in one building, all right? And that there's a lot of schools in North Dakota like that. There's one building, K through 12 plant. His data will all flow by just going in and selecting the year, putting superintendent down and submitting. That'll flow nicely. But what happens if it's not that way? So looking at who I have on today, let's see, do we got an example? Barnes County, are you guys all one building?
Yep, we're all one building.
Yeah, I'm not sure about Hettinger. Doesn't make a difference. We'll go ahead and do this. You just have elementaries in one building, high schools in another, two separate buildings. What you need to do is first find out the building number. So Sam's homeschool was in the high school. All right. So let's say now in our example, Sam is the superintendent of a school where the elementary is in a separate building, and he's listed as a homeschool at the high school. I got to go find out the elementary school's state number. So to do that, you come up here to the top, you select the district office. And right now, these instructions are on page 6, okay? Right in the center of page 6. So I select the district office. I come over here to district management because I'm going to manage the district, right? How was it set up? How was the district set up? I select that. And what I want is school information right there in the middle of page 6. Here's my elementary school. So I'm going to select the elementary school. And I'm going to scroll down and it's listed as the alternate school number. That's the state number for this school. So that's what it'd be in your school. You're going to go ahead, double click that, copy it. And now we'll go back to the high school. And of course, I'm working with Sam. Coming down here. So high school numbers are flowing here. I need to add a new school. I'm going to say 24-25 school year. He is the superintendent of that other building also, and I'd submit that. So now what's going to happen is data is going to flow for the high school and then for our elementary students who are in a separate building. All right. And then down here, same information, degrees and so on. So that's one of them where it's a little bit different, but not too difficult. Okay, it really works nice. Now you're not typing in numbers for 12 grades, male and female. You're letting the data flow. And that really is nice. Top of page 17, let's talk about a teacher whose contract is not held by the school district. In this one, my example is Sandy Meitinger. Sandy has taught Spanish, for forever in this area through the Great Western Network, okay? So how do we handle those teachers? On the staff profile page, and I'm at the top of page 7 now, all we need to do for Sandy is, if we want her in our PowerSchool, and a lot of schools do, we put Sandy in first and last name. That's the minimum. If you want email address, I always did because I wanted to email that person, but first and last name, maybe an email address, that's fine. But minimum is first and last name. Submit that, then we go to the compliance page. And all you need to do is include this teacher license number. Then you're going to be golden, okay? What you don't want to do is enter a salary. You're not paying her anyway, okay? And you wouldn't put, well, to belong to the Great Western, we have to, pay $2,000 a year, so I'll put $2,000. No, you don't. You just leave it blank. Linton pays Sandy, okay? And they're the ones who need to complete the MISO3 for her. So this is going to allow you to put her in there and, have your Spanish classes set up that way. So that's how you handle people who teach in your building, who the contract is from someplace else, all right? And they're a licensed teacher teaching, Spanish. Art was another one that could be used here, where it's a licensed art teacher out of Bismarck teaching art to your kids in your building, all right? Our next example that we can talk about here is teachers in PowerSchool from a CTC, so a Career and Tech Center. So if you're receiving classes from CREA, let's say, in the Career and Tech Center there, or maybe it's North Valley Career and Tech Center, you could have that teacher in your system, but you would check the box to exclude them from state reporting because the Career and Tech Center has them in their PowerSchool to report them. Okay, that's their job to report their Career and Tech Center teachers. And that box is right down here. You see that? You'd check that box for those teachers. Okay, because they're not, you're not paying their salary, right? And they're from a Career and Tech Center. Sections assigned to non-instructional staff or staff not licensed to teach in a specific area. So a common example here is we have principals sometimes that do this, but there's also a lot of you use a para or maybe an admin assistant that might be listed as the teacher for all these online classes that you're bringing into your school, or in some cases they're the ITV classes too, and so on. But that teacher is not, or that admin assistant doesn't have a teaching degree, and they're not licensed to teach those classes. Well, you don't want to get dinged on a state report with this, but it's perfectly okay to exclude that individual from state reporting. The information's still going to flow fine, but you won't get it, marked as having somebody teach out of their area. So we can do that at the staff level, and we can also do it at the course level or section level. Remember, courses are above sections. So if I have a science class or science course, and I have 4 sections underneath that course, all of those sections will report the same as the course. Will report the same as the course unless I tell it to do differently, unless I set it different at the section level. So I could have 3 sections of science in-house, but I have a 4th online. I would set that 4th section differently than the course. If they're all the same, then you set the course and you're in good shape. So I'm at the high school right now, and I'll just stay there because this will work for my example. And I'm going to go to the school, and I'm going to look at some courses and sections. Okay, so I go to school management, courses and programs. I want to look at courses. So we have this Ag 1 class, and I have 2 sections of it, right? If I go ahead and select the course here, I can say, hey, I want to exclude this from state reporting. I have that option down here. All right, I can do that at the course level. I could set one of those sections to be excluded and the other one not by going to the sections and doing that. Okay, so you have some flexibility. Now, since I'm on this page, I want to remind you guys, remember the last legislative session, the state put a lot of money into career and tech centers. They want to see, if their, students are taking courses from these centers. So make sure that you are reporting that if your instructional delivery method is online and you're getting this class from, let's say, the Rough Rider Area Career and Tech Center, that you put it or enter this as that class is coming from there. Okay, it might be from the North Dakota Center for Distance Ed and it's online. Make sure you're setting your courses and sections. If you set it at the course level, again, you don't have to mess with the sections, but if some sections are different than the course, you need to do that, okay, at the section level. So make sure this is set for all those classes that you're receiving from outside your building. That's going to be important data that they want. I'm going to jump down now to co-teachers, and I'm on the bottom of page 8. Okay. So I'm going to use one of our top teachers here. We're going to look for Jack Knopp. There he is. I'm bringing Jack up. I'm going to look at his schedule right now. And I see here that Jack has an accounting 10 class. And this emblem right here tells me that there's a co-teacher. So I'm going to select the number of the section, and that's going to bring up that section settings there. And remember, this can sometimes be a little bit misleading. Jack's the lead teacher, Jane's listed as the co-teacher. In order for you not to have a problem with this, Jane needs to have the same teacher license or needs to be licensed to teach accounting. Same as Jack. If she doesn't, Jane can't be listed as a co-teacher. She needs to be listed as a job share teacher. So we see this sometimes, most commonly, we see this when Jane is the special education instructor. And she's going to work with Jack on this accounting class because she has a few of her students in Jack's class. They're going to co-teach it, and she's going to, take care of her students in the class and work with them, and she needs to be able to enter grades and so on. So we list her as a job share teacher. All right, we submit that, and then you're good. Remember, co-teachers need to have the same license as the lead teacher if they're going to be listed as a co-teacher. So now, where do I find the settings that are necessary? Well, I want her to be able to enter grades. How do I know if this is going to be able to be done or not? Right there at the bottom of page 11, or 8. Right at the bottom of page 8, I go and select system settings. That's where the instructions are at. I'm going back to my home page, okay? And from the start page, I'm selecting system management. I'm going system-wide now, okay? Security, user roles, co-teaching, and right here is where I can see what permissions these teachers have, okay? Or these roles have, I should say. Now, the only thing that the job share teacher can't do or isn't permitted to do is to have their name displayed on reports. Now, if you're saying, nah, I'd kind of like to have that, all you have to do is change permission. To change permissions here is to select the job share teacher. And here's where you can control what permissions the job share teacher has, or the co-teacher or anybody else, student, teacher, and so on. All right? Very good. Okay, let's go back to the start page and let's get into this staff verification report. Now you can run it at the high school, the elementary school, you decide where you want to do it. You can do it from the district office too, okay? I know different schools have different, roles. When I was a principal, I worried about the high school, and the elementary principal worried about the elementary teachers. And we of course talked to one another, and I'd say, I'm going to take all the special ed teachers. He'd take the Title I teachers. That way we made sure we weren't leaving anybody out. I had the counselor, and so on. So I'll stay at the high school, and we're going to follow these steps. Now I'm on page 9. From the start page, and it talks there about the district office, but it'll work either at the school level or the district office level. Select data and reporting. In fact, I'm going to show you something else. So I want to get to the district office. District office, data and reporting. What are we doing? We're looking for a report. So I'm going to select report. What kind of report am I looking for? We're working with compliance reports, right? The MISO3. And we're working with the MISO3 staff verification report. Now here's where it's nice. You notice right here, these two are automatically highlighted. That's because the last time I was in there, I set it that way. So let's say my role has changed now and I need to include the Hughes High School also. So I might select Hughes High School, Fargo Middle, and Edutech High School. Those are the schools I'm going to work with. I controlled and clicked them, okay? Do I want to include position codes 2 through 4? Yes, I do, because remember my example of Jerome Sunday? Jerome had that position responsibility code of a second one. He was also a classroom teacher, so I want to see that. And do I want to include teachers excluded from state reporting? At this time, I don't want to work with them, so I put no. Now, anytime you see this over here in PowerSchool, you can make this page the default. So if I go select all, the next time I come in here, these settings will all be the way I have them right now. That can be kind of nice, okay? So we'll go ahead and submit that. And, oh, I see, I'm gonna get rid of that one. I was holding it up for a while. Now I'm running this report, right? And I can select refresh. And I can do that until it's completed, okay? Now, I don't need to wait. I have some down here that I can show you. If I select this right here, notice here, this pops up. I can open up this document from right here. Now, if you didn't have that happen, when you select completed, it might have went to your downloads folder. So you might need to come down here to this folder and select your downloads folder and go get it there. So I'm going to go get my sample one that I have set up for you. And we'll get that opened up. That'll give you guys a little bit of time. Most of yours should be done now if you're working along with me and bringing that up. Yours should be completed by now. So go ahead and open that up in Excel. And does anybody need more time? Just raise your hand if you do, if you need, you have a question or so on. Okay, now I'm at the top of page 10 under Excel tips. All right. What we want to do is, you see in this top row, I have a filter. We want to put that filter on for you. Well, how do you add a filter? You come right up here and you select your information. I think you just need to do the top row here. And you do, on the home ribbon, you come on over to this side, you see where the little filter is, and you say filter. Now that took it away from me, so I want to add that back on, and it puts the filter there. Another way you can do it is come over here to the data tab, and you see right here is filter. All right, so now I have the filter on. The other thing I want to do, and I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here so you can see a little bit better. You see where I have two lines here and it goes E to H. That tells me I've hidden some columns. Well, if I highlight those two and go unhide, now you can see the columns that I hid. Sometimes you want to hide stuff like staff ID and legal suffix. I don't need those. I'm not working with those. I want to hide them. So I'd go ahead and highlight the column, right click on the columns and go hide. Okay. You also want to freeze the pane. All right. So if I'm at the top here, I'm going to select top pane, and my instructions here are right in the middle of page 10 for freezing the pane. On the view ribbon right here, I'm going to select freeze panes, freeze the top pane. All right, and that's going to freeze that top pane for us. Now you're ready to start working. So I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. Now, if you have just say this one screen of staff members, you might not need to do a lot of filtering. Or, you might just say, hey, I want to filter and I want to make it work that way. What we have here is homeschool. So we can filter by homeschool. You might be able to say, I only want to work with school number 1. Or I want to work with both schools. So you'll check that. It's up to you on how you're doing it. Now, when we say school 1 or 2, what are we talking about? Right here on your PowerSchool, here's Edutech High School is listed as number 1. The middle school is number 2. The elementary school is number 3. That's where you get those numbers from, okay? So you can look for that. So I'm going to work with both my elementary and my high school here. And let's say I have it where they don't all fit on one page, that I need to filter. So you can come to this column right here now and go, I want to deselect all of them and I want to filter by blank. This staff member does not have a salary entered. Is that right or not? If it's a regular classroom teacher in your school district, you're paying that individual, they should have a salary there and they forgot to enter it in. So you want to go to PowerSchool, enter the salary, and then that will go ahead and update with the nightly process. All right. So we can go ahead and select all of those, put that back. I can do the same thing with teacher licenses. I can go down here, deselect all of them and select, I'm looking for blanks. And I'm asking myself with all of these fields, is this correct or not? Does Isabella and Yvonne need to have a teacher license entered? If they're both paras, no, we're good, right? Not a problem. Submission date. Here was the example I was visiting with you about earlier. I can go through this. You see how they're all 9/1/24? Well, okay, there's a lot of data there. Oh, I do have somebody who's different, right? So I'm going to take the 9/1/24 out, and I have somebody with a different date here. This person did not submit their form when they entered their data. So I need to visit with Luna and get that information updated. Another handy one. Okay, email addresses, gender, all of those fields. Whoops, I got to get this back here. There we have all our data back. All of these fields need to be completed, right? So we're going to check for anything that's blank. And like I said, you might be able to scroll through them like this and go, hey, Mia doesn't have her gender filled out. And you just go into PowerSchool and fill it out, and same thing with race, ethnicity, date of birth, these sort of things, it's good for you to do. New teachers, if you have a new teacher to your school district during that new teacher orientation that you have, this would be one of the activities you want, right? You're sitting down with, your new teachers and you're going through that PowerSchool form with them, the profile page and the compliance page, and you're just filling it all out and they're done, okay? That really makes life easier. But you see where you can filter through a number of these fields here, and there's a lot of fields, and I have a lot that's blank. You're not going to because you're a regular school, but my sample here works pretty well. But one teacher with a date of birth missing, days contracted, periods missing, and so on. You can fill those out and make sure that all that data is coming across. So that really is handy for you. It's a great form. And where I mentioned earlier, we will get that added in probably in here someplace for that mandated reporting that, if you see a 1 in here, who doesn't have a 1? And should they have a 1? You know, should they have the mandated reporting checkbox checked? Okay, so that'll be coming next year in that area. At the bottom of page 10 there, you can write your school IDs in there if you need to. We provided a space there, and that way you don't have to look that up in the future. Okay. Page 11 was our classroom teacher access. So I want to show you that. Any questions on the spreadsheet at all? We good? Okay. Let's do the mandated reporting. Where can you toggle that on and off at? So the instructions are on page 11. So it might be that prior to the teacher in service that you have, you might go in and go, hey, I need to turn that on. You're going to go to the district office. I'm in the district office up here. You're going to go ahead and go to district management. You're going to go to compliance, miscellaneous, and you're going to say, I need to turn it on. You'll check the box. Then it might be after the meeting, you say, hey, people, if you think of any changes you had or anything you missed, you'll need to come and see me after the meeting. I'm turning it off. And you might go in here and take that check mark out and submit that. And now that won't be highlighted on the side. It'll be grayed out of their teacher license area. So it's up to you on how you handle this. But it's on page 11. Okay, let's talk a little bit about stars now. Bring up stars. And I'm sure I'm logged out. Yep. So let's get the stars, get logged in. They don't give you much grace period here for not getting signed in or for much idle time, and you're logged out. So I'm into stars, and I'm on page 12 now, okay, right at the top of the page. What you want to do, and each school handles it a little bit differently, is turn on your automated file transfer at some time. And I'll explain some benefits to waiting, okay? So you come over here and you say automated file transfer. And if you said, hey, I think my PowerSchool data is pretty clean, I think I'm ready to go, you'd go ahead and you'd come in here. You're going to check these 3 boxes for licensed personnel school year, school courses, school course demographics, and you're going to say 9/16 in here. Here you can put 11/1, it's fine. The end date isn't so important because if I submit it tomorrow, it turns the process off anyway. Okay, so you're just saying, hey, you could put January 1 in here. It's not going to make a difference because when you submit it at the end of the month, that's it. And then you're going to check all the days here. That's what you're going to do. All right. So now the benefit to waiting until you think all of your data is clear is that some things don't overwrite with the nightly process. And one of them is the exempt from state reporting. If you go in and go, oh yeah, Mr. Wyman, I had him as reporting and then I changed him to exempt. That doesn't overwrite at this time. Hopefully in the future it will, and we'll be in good shape, but it won't overwrite. So you're going, it's still not flowing. It's still not flowing. Well, that's because it won't overwrite itself, and you'd have to call Jamie Krause at DPI and say, hey, can you wipe that clean and let the overnight process go? And then it'll overwrite for us. Okay. So that's one of the benefits of waiting until everything's good and then turning on this process. Some people like to go, nah, I just turn it on, I see what some errors are, and I work from there, but it's up to you. But I think I would wait until you're thinking you're going to get a nice clean shot at your data. So now, and also just a note there, and they talk about it on page 12, you need to do this if you have more than one school. So if you're middle school and high school and elementary school, you need to turn the process on at each school. Moving on to page 13, let's go back to our start page. We're still in stars. I'm going to go ahead and select the personnel tab, and I'm in my DPI plant now. I'm going to go ahead and select the report icon. I'm going to make sure I got the right year here. In school, select a report. Now this window pops up. Right here for notifications. If I'm here and I want notifications on maybe some errors, some different things, I want to put my name, phone number in here. Now, what if you're saying, well, there's more than one of us? Just separate the two emails by a semicolon, and then two people will get that email. It might be important for, this short amount of time, and then you could go in and take it out if you need to. Okay, but that can be kind of handy. We talk about staff and the green skittle, right? So right now, I don't see a green skittle over here for these two staff members. That means that their data is not flowing from PowerSchool. There's something wrong, something missing. If you have the green skittle, it's flowing, and that's what you want. If it's not flowing, why not? And you got to go look at those staff profile pages. What am I missing? What isn't correct possibly on that profile page and the compliance page? Remember, warnings are warnings. You should look at them, read them, see if things are right, but they don't possibly need to be corrected. Errors have to be corrected. So how do you know what errors there are? You can come up here and select validate. And here's a list of all the errors. Okay. It's kind of nice and handy that they pop up like that. Give you some clue as to what's wrong. You can go fix them. Now, some things Jack and I are able to help you with, and the rest of the PowerSchool team. We can, go in, it's not flowing. You'd maybe start with us. What's wrong? We help with a whole series of these sometimes, but the real expert on this and where the buck stops is with Angie Thomas, right down here in the bottom left. Here's her email and then her phone number. And I think she's real busy this time of year with, questions and not sure how to fix some things when you get these validation errors and so on. And we get kind of busy too with some of them. But it's gotten a lot better. You people are doing a much better job of getting this stuff taken care of, and the data flowing out of PowerSchool has been really good. So kudos to you. Double check your staff count. All right, so I'm going to return to my license list. I'll just do so I can get more people. I'll go to last year. If I had 12 teachers in PowerSchool and you got 12 teachers in your building, there should be 12 in stars. Most of the time, 99% of the time, if I was in this system last year, I'm going to show up in this system this year too, okay? What you want to do is say, hey, we got a new first grade teacher. Go to this list in stars and make sure that they're flowing into stars. Angie and Steve Snow said when we met with them at the beginning of the year, that's the number one problem is new teachers in a school system don't flow to stars, or it was one of the problems. They don't flow to stars, and it's basically because of a data entry on somebody's fault, whether it be that teacher or the admin not putting something correctly into PowerSchool and they didn't flow up. So make sure they're there. Take a look at your new teachers. They should be on this list. And I think that's pretty good there. If we go, the last pages 14 and 15 of that doc are scenarios that you can look at and see how they might be handled in your school district and how you might set them in yours. Some of them are just based.
Excuse me.
Some are
Did
just
you wanna
basically. Go ahead, Jack.
Did you want to mention about not doing a rollover,
Yes.
the whole rollover thing? Yep.
Yeah, I dealt with this morning. Okay. A school's like, what's going on? Things aren't right. It's not flowing. I got doubles of stuff, and I seen it right away. They had two of everything in there because data was flowing from PowerSchool and they did the import rollover. Probably 90% of you schools shouldn't do this rollover anymore. That used to be something in the day and it was very helpful, but it's not anymore because we're pulling data from PowerSchool. So you don't want to do this rollover. Some might do it for a select couple teachers in their school building, but for the most part, most of you are not going to do this. And in this case, it was the business manager who did it, and sometimes they think they're being helpful, superintendent's like, oh, I'll roll them all over and help the principals out. And it's like, you didn't help me, you just created work for me, right? Don't do the rollover, okay? Unless you really know what you're doing. Let that data flow from PowerSchool, okay? I was going to say on the last couple pages there, some of those are a few years ago. I always use the Dean of Students as an example. A lot of people were doing the Dean of Students thing, and geez, what codes do you use? So some of them are just providing codes for you. Okay, we have the superintendent example there again. Jack, did I miss anything with our people today? Do you people have any questions?
Everything sounds good, Glenn. I was just thinking about those external links. Did you want to mention those three?
Yes, thank you, Jack. Yes. Okay, so I'm right up here. Let's move this out of here because, yeah, we want to show you a few other things that are available to you people. We have external links, and Jeremy sent this out in a newsletter here last week also, okay? So I'm in the district office. I'm going to come over here to courses and let's see, district management, courses and programs. It's not in our train site, is it, Jack? I got to go to a school. Let's see, we said Valley City had it last time, didn't we? This is by the end of the month, all of the schools will have it on. Okay, our staff is, when they get some time, they're putting it in for you. So not everybody might have it on yet, but look forward to it in the future. Okay, I'm at the district office. Now I'm going to district management. I'm going to courses and programs. And notice right here, we added a link for you. When our thinking was, hey, you're going to add a course code or something like that, a new course in your school. Right here, we made it available for you that you can go look up that state course code. That's real handy. We didn't want to take away your bookmarks bar, but we thought it'd be nice to be right here. Another
this one has to be done at the district office, whereas the other two can be done at the schools.
Right. Okay. Then another one was staff. And you're coming, okay, I got staff, and maybe you're going to add a new staff member. You get to the staff member and you go staff, and right here, ESPB teacher search. You get there and you're going, oh, shoot, man, I'm going to need a teacher license number. Right there, the link is. Okay, that's real good. And then our other one was in, help me out, Jack, where was that next one at? Stars, the stars link. Was that? Who was that? That was
data and reporting, I believe, Glenn.
Data and reporting. Thank you, Jack.
Yep.
I was drawing a blank on that one. Under data and reporting, here we have the stars link, and that'll get you to stars. And that should make sense, right? I mean, I should have been using my head. What am I doing? I'm working with reporting while I'm reporting stuff out of PowerSchool to stars. So I should have done that. All right, so right there, that link's for you. Another thing I want to cover today, just to finish up, is EduTech website, training option or services and PowerSchool. And this is where you went to get that document today for the training, right? look to see a lot more of this. We're getting a few more in here, and we want to provide you guys with some helpful documents. Some of you like this enrollment and transfer scenarios. And what we're going to have in here is the most up-to-date docs all the time. So look to see this expanding, all right? And come to here and look for things that, hey, I wonder if it's here. Maybe I can get some help on something. It'll be good. Now, another one I want to show you is our YouTube channel. So we're right here at our home screen, YouTube channel. And I told you I was recording this. I'm going to talk to our communications department. They'll get this posted up here, you know, in the near future, next couple of days. It doesn't happen overnight sometimes. But one here, this one's gotten some very good views. 2,400 views on introducing the new interface. You guys are all pros now, so we're in good shape. You've been working with it for a while. But here's one I want you guys to do too. When you get a little bit of time, this week, go through and do this start of school year checks. Check your data out, okay? This is something we want you to do all the time, every year. You know, you should be coming in here within the first couple of weeks of school and checking this to make sure it's right. We just had a ticket this morning on that was like, hey, I'm not getting state student numbers from a couple students. They might have been able to prevent that problem by going through and watching this video. So watch this and look for the MISO3 training video to be put here also here in the next couple of days. All right. Couple helpful things for you. Okay. That's what I have for you, people. Any questions at all? Don't be afraid to reach out to Jack and I or any other one of the teams. Submitted tickets, shoot me an email, whatever. We're here to help you. We want to make the process smooth and easy for you, okay? Every year it gets easier for people, so we want it to be that way.
And also too, just to get it on your radar, our PowerSchool user group is going to be, I think, November 6th and 7th in Bismarck, Glenn?
Right, yep. Think about that. And actually registration's open. Jer got those created. It's open, so you can sign up and get a room.
Thanks, everyone.
You bet. There's no questions. You guys have a great day. Reach out to us if you have problems. Have a good one. We'll see you. Bye.
Thank you.